The Billionaire Life of Isabel dos Santos, Africa's Controversial Heiress. $3.7 billion. Presidential power meets ruthless ambition. Isabel dos Santos didn't inherit this money. She inherited access. And she turned that access into the most controversial fortune in African history. Right now, she's hiding in Dubai's luxury towers while prosecutors across 4 continents hunt down every stolen dollar. At her peak in 2013, Forbes crowned her Africa's richest woman. This is what happens when family connections meet systemic looting, and eventually, global justice catches up. Presidential's Daughters Masterclass. Jose Eduardo dos Santos ruled Angola for 38 years. That's not a presidency, that's a kingdom. And Isabel was the crown princess learning how to monetize power from day one. Born in 1973 in Baku, Azerbaijan, while her father worked for Angola's state oil company, Isabel's education wasn't accidental. King's College London for engineering, followed by strategic business courses. She returned to Angola with Western knowledge and African political immunity, the perfect combination for what came next. But where most people get Isabel wrong is that she didn't wait around for daddy's inheritance. While Jose Eduardo was busy running the country, Isabel was systematically building her own empire, deal by deal, contract by contract. Her first major move was partnering with Portuguese businessman Fernando Amorim in 2005 to launch Banco BICSA. Within years, it became one of Angola's largest banks with assets exceeding $4.2 billion. I mean, not bad for someone's side project. The genius wasn't just in banking. It was actually in understanding leverage. Every government contract her companies touched, every state partnership she negotiated, every competitive bid she won somehow traced back to one simple advantage. She was untouchable. Building the telecom empire. While other entrepreneurs fought for market share, Isabel simply created monopolies. Her masterpiece was gaining control of Angola's telecommunications infrastructure through a web of companies that would make offshore specialists jealous. Through her Vidatel holding company, Isabel secured a 25% stake in Unitel, Angola's largest mobile network operator. But of course, that was just the beginning. She systematically acquired stakes in Zon Multimedia, one of Portugal's largest cable TV and internet providers, and built a telecommunications empire spanning 2 continents. The strategy was, no doubt, brilliant. Control how people communicate, and you control a revenue stream that grows with the economy. Every phone call, every text message, every internet connection in Angola somehow fed into Isabel's expanding fortune. By 2010, her telecom holdings alone were worth hundreds of millions. She wasn't just rich, she was essential to Angola's digital infrastructure. Try running a business in Angola without using services connected to Isabel's empire. Good luck. But telecommunications was just the foundation. Isabel was building something much bigger, a diversified business empire that touched everything from diamonds to media to retail banking. Oil Queen's coronation. 2016 changed everything. Jose Eduardo dos Santos made the most controversial appointment in Angola's modern history. He named his daughter CEO of Sonangol, the state oil company that controls the country's economic lifeline. Running Sonangol wasn't just another job. Angola depends on oil for 95% of its export revenues and 75% of government income. Isabel suddenly controlled the financial destiny of 30 million people. The appointment shocked even seasoned African business observers. Here was a woman in her 40s with no formal oil industry experience, suddenly managing billions in annual revenue and negotiating with international energy giants like ExxonMobil, Chevron, and Total. What nobody realized at the time was how this position would become the centerpiece of the largest corruption investigation in African history. Every contract Isabel signed, every partnership she approved, every strategic decision she made would later be scrutinized by prosecutors across multiple continents. Her 18-month tenure at Sonangol would generate enough legal ammunition to fuel international investigations for decades. But during those crucial months, Isabel operated with absolute impunity, making decisions that affected Angola's oil future while building her personal wealth to unprecedented levels. The untouchable years. Between 2012 and 2017, Isabel dos Santos lived like African royalty with global reach. Private jets shuttling between Luanda, Lisbon, London, and Dubai. Penthouses in the world's most exclusive cities. Art collections worth tens of millions. Her real estate portfolio alone told the story of strategic global wealth parking. Luxury apartments in Dubai's Burj Khalifa district, with comparable units now worth over $570,000. Portuguese properties through her companies valued in the hundreds of millions. London real estate that British courts would later freeze. Now, Isabel's lifestyle wasn't just about spending. It was about building untouchable wealth across multiple jurisdictions. Shell companies in the Netherlands, offshore accounts in tax havens, business partnerships spanning 5 continents. Yet, she became a fixture at international business conferences, speaking alongside legitimate entrepreneurs and world leaders. Forbes featured her success story. Business schools analyzed her diversification strategies. The irony was devastating here. While Isabel accumulated assets worth billions, Angola remained one of the world's poorest countries despite sitting on massive oil reserves. 2/3 of Angolans lived on less than $2 daily, while the president's daughter built luxury hotels and bought stakes in European companies. Her empire at its peak included stakes in Portuguese bank BIC, Dutch engineering company Ifasec, Portuguese cable company NOS, Angolan diamond company Endiama, and dozens of other businesses across multiple sectors and countries. Empire crumbles 2017 to 2020. September 2017 brought the beginning of the end. José Eduardo dos Santos stepped down as president, and his hand-picked successor, João Lourenço, had very different plans for Angola's future. Plans that didn't include the dos Santos family maintaining their grip on state resources. The first warning shot came fast. Lourenço fired Isabel from Sonangol within months of taking office, officially ending her direct control over Angola's oil wealth. But that was just the opening move. By November 2017, Angolan prosecutors launched investigations into Isabel's business dealings. By December, courts began freezing her assets. The legal machinery that had protected the dos Santos family for decades suddenly turned against them. Isabel fought back through international lawyers and public relations firms, claiming political persecution. But the momentum was building across multiple continents. Portugal opened its own investigation. British authorities began scrutinizing her UK investments. The woman who once controlled Angola's economic destiny was about to become its most wanted fugitive. Every frozen account, every blocked transaction, every legal defeat tightened the financial noose around her global empire. Luanda leaks, complete exposure. January 19, 2020 became Isabel dos Santos' nightmare date. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists published the Luanda Leaks, more than 715,000 files exposing exactly how she built her empire. The documents weren't just embarrassing, they were legally devastating. Email chains showing how consulting contracts were awarded to her companies, bank records revealing suspicious money transfers, corporate structures designed to obscure beneficial ownership. The revelations triggered immediate international action. Within 48 hours, the British government imposed sanctions and froze her UK assets. Portugal followed with similar measures. International banks began closing her accounts and terminating business relationships. The real damage was, indeed, reputational. The leaked documents showed a sophisticated network designed to extract wealth from Angola's state resources through consulting fees, inflated contracts, and questionable partnerships. Every business success was suddenly suspect. Major international companies began distancing themselves from Isabel's businesses. Consulting giant McKinsey faced scrutiny for its work with Sonangol during her tenure. Portuguese bank Millennium BCP terminated her accounts. Dutch authorities investigated her companies. The woman who spent decades building an untouchable global network watched it collapse in months. Every leaked document became evidence. Every frozen asset became a legal victory for prosecutors. The Dubai years. By 2021, Isabel dos Santos was living in permanent exile. Angola had issued arrest warrants. Portugal wanted her for money laundering. The UK had frozen $733 million in assets after a high court ruling. Dubai became her golden prison. Luxury surroundings, but severely limited international movement. In November 2022, Interpol issued a red notice for her arrest, making her one of the world's most wanted white-collar criminals. The legal battles multiplied across continents. Angola's prosecutors charged her with 12 crimes, including money laundering and mismanagement of public funds, alleging she defrauded the country of $219 million during her Sonangol tenure. Portuguese authorities opened parallel investigations into her business empire. Her current net worth remains disputed. Some estimates still place her wealth at $2 billion, but much of that is frozen, under investigation, or tied up in legal battles. Forbes removed her from their billionaire rankings in January 2021 amid mounting legal pressure. Despite maintaining an active social media presence from Dubai, for Isabel, international travel now means potential arrest. The woman who once jet-setted between business meetings across continents now carefully calculates every movement outside UAE borders. Ironically, she's trapped in the same luxury lifestyle that made her famous, unable to enjoy the global freedom that billions in wealth supposedly guarantees. Every frozen account represents potential evidence. Every legal victory by prosecutors tightens the international net around her remaining assets. Her story isn't over, of course. It's entering its most dramatic phase, with Isabel fighting to salvage whatever remains of her once untouchable empire while international justice closes in from every direction. So, do you think Isabel will ever face justice? Or will she stay hidden in Dubai forever? Should children of world leaders be banned from major business deals? Which billionaire's controversial story should we cover next? Let me know your honest thoughts. And if you want to see more of the world's richest icons and luxury stories, subscribe right now, because this is where the legends live forever.